morning and welcome to What's Up Wichita. I am Sheila Kinnard and I'll be your interviewer today. We are going to find out the who, the what, the why, and what's going on in Wichita. We have several guests coming in today, and our first guest is Lavonta Williams. I'm going to ask her to step to the mic, and she's going to tell you, in her own words, what's up Wichita.
Greetings. My name is Lavonta Williams, and I am the first African-American female to serve as the Vice Mayor of the City of Wichita, the great ICT. You know, there are so many things that are going on in Wichita, and many people have no idea of some of the things that we have that are affecting their own community. As Dr. Ava alluded to, I'd like for you to know what is going on in your community. One of the things that I am very involved in is making sure that the youth coming up have the opportunities that they need to have a successful career. I am working on making sure that students that want to have a career and a job starting at the age of 14 will be able to do that with summer youth employment, learning how to do interviews, learning how to do resumes, and continuing on to work. My goal would be to have 1,000 students working during the summer, and this first summer is my target. And so we're working very hard with the YMCA, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, the Boys and Girls Club, the City of Wichita, and also the Workforce Alliance to make that happen. I want to make sure that our kids have that opportunity to add to the income that is within their homes. You know, some people don't understand that the actions and behaviors really affect our community. The actions and behaviors that are negative within our community affect our economic development. Many people ask, when are we going to have something back at 13th and Oliver? When will we have a store? When will we have this? When will we have that? Sometimes actions affect whether or not we get those immediately or whether it's going to take some time for others to see that this is a safe community to come in, and Wichita is a safe place. One of the other things that I'm working on right now is the Urban League, trying to make sure that the doors to the Urban League stay open. That's very important to me because there's teaching and there's education and there's learning that's going on at the Urban League as well. So it's very important that those doors stay open. So you'll be hearing more from us later as to what my role will be in this and the role of the city and how we will partner to make sure that this is something that is going to go on. One of the other things that I've been so passionately working on is Fairmount Park. Fairmount Park, over a year ago, ran into a challenge and had an incident that happened in that park. But Fairmount is a very safe park. So we're spending a lot of our efforts in making sure that people understand that Fairmount is safe and it's okay to be there. And it's okay for our Wichita State University to partner with us to make sure that we are having some things go on. Fairmount Park is the first park to have what we call futsal, and we have new tennis courts. Because the incident happened near the tennis courts, I wanted to tear those courts down and start brand new. And so that's what we're doing at Fairmount Park. I also want to make sure that people understand that we have a crisis right now with our swimming pools. Many of us grew up swimming at McAdams Pool. McAdams Pool may be one of those that will be closing, and that is because we don't have enough young people that are visiting that swimming pool. We even had a neighborhood association pay for any student who wanted to swim could do that. And so far that did not bring in the revenue and did not bring in the number of youth that we needed. So there are 3 options on the table, and you'll be hearing about those 3 options. Leave one pool open and close all others, or 2 other options. And I will be probably vying for option 1, which is closing down some but adding splash pads or water activity at some of the others. So that's very, very important. It's also important that you know that the City of Wichita, District 1, and many of the other districts will come into a little bit of a windfall. Many of you know that we sold the Hyatt in downtown Wichita. We sold that for a very good amount, which was $20 million. Some of that money will go to fund transit all of you know that our transit is not working very well. So transit will receive some of those funds, but it won't sustain it. But it will give us time to figure out how to sustain transit. Some of the money will go to neighborhood infrastructure. I heard you out there talking about the potholes and how rough your streets are. So some of that money will go towards infrastructure. Now I'm asking you, Wichita and surrounding regional cities, what should some of that other fund go to? Should it go for training? Should it go to help us to prepare people for jobs? What should some of those other funds go to? Right now, we're in the middle of asking those questions across the city of Wichita. For me, that's very important for District 1, because you know, District 1 goes from 53rd Street North all the way to Lincoln in South Wichita. It goes from Rock Road in some portions, and it also goes over to the canal in downtown Century 2. So District 1 is a large district. So how can I make a positive difference in District 1 with some of that windfall from the Hyatt? Also, an important opportunity for me is making sure that Wichita remains safe. And that is something that I'm looking at. Can some of that windfall go toward helping Wichita stay safe? You know, I'm so appreciative of our pastors who have put together what we call a God Squad. So our pastors are also being involved in keeping us safe. The God Squad comes out when there has been a tragedy or when there has been conversation needed in the community. So I thank God every day for the God Squad who is helping us. District 1 just will be selling one of our buildings in downtown Wichita, and that will actually be coming up soon on the agenda. We have downtown a building that's called the State Finney Building. We have a gentleman that is coming in showing us the renderings of what he would like to do, and we will see if that fits in the downtown Wichita community. That is going to be very important. Another thing in downtown Wichita, and remember, downtown Wichita is District 1, is improvements on the riverfront. Have you ever gone to some other cities and along their river, they have walkability, they have retail, they have restaurants? That's what I'd like to see in Wichita, using our riverfront. So those questions and those conversations are going on right now in the city of Wichita. And you need to make sure that you have a seat at the table when that opportunity comes along, because I tell my community every day, if you're not at the table, you could be on the menu. Another thing that I'm working on is making sure that we keep the historic Dunbar Theater in mind as we move forward. It's going to be a challenge for us to make sure that the historic Dunbar opens as a performing arts activity for our young people. Because you have to understand, when I look at the city of Wichita, many of the decisions that I make are based on how will it affect the next generation that's coming up. That is so important to me, to leave our city in a better place than when I found it. And I'm sure that all of us feel that way. Another important part that I'm working on, I sit on a national task force. That national task force is looking at the increase and the epidemic of opioids and heroin. Opioids are a pain relieving medication, but we have many people in the community who are using and abusing the opioid treatments. And we have many that are beginning to get hooked on the opioids. So if you can take something other than a pain reliever that has opioid in it, it would be better for you. And I would ask that our seniors make sure that your medication is locked up, especially if you have something that is pertaining to painkillers that you have been taking. And the increase is not here in Wichita yet, but it's on its way. So I am trying to do what I can by partnering with other organizations to make sure that Wichita is being proactive as opposed to reactive. Another organization that I'm very involved in is Urban Infill. I've been a person who has looked at Blight ever since coming to the City Council 9 years ago. And we continue to have homes that have been left in Wichita unattended by maybe your mother, your dad, family house. But nobody wants to come back to Wichita to take care of that house. We eventually have Blight, and that Blight then consumes that neighborhood. No one wants to live next to a house that has been blighted, that have squatters living in the home, or all of the utilities destroyed within the home because someone has been in taking the metals or taking the pieces that are there. So blight is another area that I again will be looking at this year, working with legislation to see if there's something that we can pass to make sure that we are not putting anyone out of their homes, but to make sure that we are giving everybody in Wichita the best quality of life that we can. That is very important as well. And so I've given you a number of things that are going on here in the city of Wichita, and I hope that you get involved and become a member, become a part of a community board or a committee, because if you are not sitting at the table, then people my age and older are making the decisions as to how your city is going to look. If you are that young millennial and you are looking for that opportunity, join the park board. If you can't join, go and find out what's going on so that you can help make those decisions as to how your walking paths look or how your city looks, as opposed to having everyone my age make those decisions. I'm not saying I'm old, but I am saying that I would prefer to have our millennials at the table helping me make the decisions that I need to make. Wichita is a great place to live, work, and play, but it takes all of us working together to make it the type of city that we want. There are so many opportunities, but your voices need to be heard, and I look forward to hearing from your voice soon. Don't hesitate to contact me, City Hall, 268-4331, or shoot me an email, lkwilliams@wichita.gov. It's been great sharing information with you. One other thing, look forward to 9th Street being the next arterial street to be renovated. 9th Street, will we lose our bricks? You'll find that out soon. Will we have art, as we have on our Redbud Path? You'll find out soon. But 9th Street is the next street that will receive new drainage, new sewers, and new pavement. And maybe even a little bit of art. Stay tuned and let me know your opinions. Thank you so much for sharing time with me.